Good morning. Just figuring out some technical stuff here and we will get started. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Facebook Live session. If you don't know me, I'm Kim Feeney. I'm a licensed independent social worker and a registered play therapist supervisor, and I'm located in Davenport, Iowa. If you're here live, go ahead and say hello in the chat. If you're watching the replay, let us know with hashtag replay. And I'll try to check in throughout the session. Okay. And I want to thank you for joining me to explore the fascinating world of your child's developing brain this morning. Again, before we dive into our discussion, remember you can leave your questions, comments in the chat, and we'll address them throughout the session as we go forward. So think about your kid. Have you ever seen them suddenly just burst into tears over something small, like, for example, a broken crayon, or get really upset when things don't go their way? Because I know I've seen that happen with kiddos. Because it's moments like these when, as Dan Siegel puts it, they flip their lid. But what does that really mean? Today, we're going to unravel the mystery behind the phrase flip your lid and understand some neuroscience-y stuff in a simple yet relatable way. We'll also talk about how play therapy can be a wonderful tool to help your kid regain their composure and build some emotional resilience. So again, thank you for joining me in this journey. Again, have you ever wondered why your kids may react differently to stress? Sometimes they're calm and thoughtful. Other times they're really on high alert. They're looking around. And then there's moments when they just seem to shut down. Well, Robin Goebel, who I studied for a whole year with, has a brilliant way of describing these states using the concept of owl, watchdog, and possum brains. Okay, so we're going to dive into what each of those mean and how they relate to Dan Siegel's comments of flipping your lid, concept of flipping the lid. So imagine your kid's brain is a house with an upstairs and a downstairs. The downstairs, the brainstem, is where basic operations happen, like breathing, strong emotions, instincts. It's sturdy, it's well established, even in young kids. And the upstairs is where we have more sophisticated processing, like thinking, planning, imagining. So when a kid flips their lid, it's like the upstairs just goes offline. It's not even connected. They can't access those higher order skills, the thinking, the problem solving, the cognitive reasoning. It's not that they won't, they literally cannot do it at that moment. It's like talking to a brick wall. And I'm sure, again, we've all been there. Dr. Siegel uses this hand model, again, like I've been doing, where the fingers flip up to represent the disconnection of the rational part of the brain from that emotion control center in the brainstem. We'll flip our lid. So now we're going to add another layer of neuroscience onto this. Robin Goebel's animals, the owl, watchdog, and possum, where the owl represents our thinking wise brain, that prefrontal cortex, that upstairs brain. It's calm, it's collected, it can see big picture, like an owl can, 360, looking all over. Watchdog is our emotional protective brain, always on guard, reacting to threats with barks, or in our case, barks are like those emotional outbursts our kids have. And then the possum brain is our brain's shutdown response. When we get too overwhelmed, just like a possum plays dead, our brain sometimes plays possum, shutting down to protect us from stress. Okay. So, as a play therapist, I use various techniques to help kids kind of renovate that brain house. And through play, we can strengthen the stairs between that lower and upper floors, so to speak, or get like a sturdy escalator or elevator going on. So I'll share a few strategies today that you can use at home. Some simple breathing exercises, some blowing bubbles, Simon Says, to practice impulse control, because these aren't just games. They're exercises for the brain. So back to Robin Goebel. How do we develop the kids' owl, watchdog, and possums to get along with each other? Again, play therapy. Engaging in play, we teach that owl to stay open, that watchdog to bark only when necessary, and the possum to come out only when it's safe to do so. So storytelling will engage that owl brain. Role playing can calm the watchdog, and cozy quiet time cuddling up on the couch reassures that possum. So some owl thinking brain activities or upstairs brain. Puzzles, problem solving, jigsaw puzzles, and try to make them developmentally appropriate. We don't want a 100-page puzzle or 100-piece puzzle for a 4-year-old, more like a 10 or 20-piece puzzle. Board games like Guess Who or Clue, encouraging that critical thinking and deduction. Again, making sure they're developmentally appropriate. All works on our L thinking brain. Mindfulness drawing, mandalas, the big circles with the shapes inside, provide coloring sheets. Again, you can get them really complex for older kids or pretty simple for younger kids. And that requires focus and a present meditative practice to complete. Or you can do something like storytelling with a twist, something interactive, reading a story and having the kid predict what they think might happen next. You can discuss potential, like different outcomes of different decisions and ways to solve the particular problem. Moving on, looking at some watchdog activities, that protective emotional, the brainstem, role playing, acting out scenarios with dolls or figures or action figures, superheroes, where the child can control those outcomes, empowering that watchdog to feel safe. Like the Hulk is a total representation of that watchdog coming out. Rhythmic movement, drumming, dancing, any activities that allow the kid to express themselves while providing some sensory feedback helps to regulate our emotions. Anything rhythmic, rocking, swinging, all of it. And then you can work on assertiveness training. Practice saying no or standing up for oneself in a safe play environment. One activity I really like is the no dance, where you have kids practice, like get songs that say no really loud in them. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's a bunch. And then they just dance to them. They say no. They practice it in a fun, playful way. Then for that possum brain, that shutdown response. Again, cozy corners, safe places. Create a small, comfortable space with pillows, blankets, where the kid can just retreat when they feel overwhelmed. Again, bring in those sensory play, Play-Doh or slime. There really is a point to slime. Provides materials the child can manipulate without any specific goal, allowing them to shut down their brain, but also continuing to be mindful and present at the same time. And then there's things like breathing and relaxation, guided imagery techniques. There's apps like Calm and Headspace that have kid-friendly meditations. Just lead the child through a calming story, including deep breathing and visualization that soothes that possum brain. And of course, these activities are all designed to help kids access the different parts or the different animals in their brains in a healthy and balanced way. Engaging in these play therapy activities, kids learn to switch more smoothly between the states and respond to stress in more adaptive and appropriate ways. So now I'm curious to hear about you guys. Which of these brain states do you see most often in your child? The observant owl, the protective watchdog, or the hiding possum? And go ahead and type your thoughts in the comments. So let's learn from each other. And again, if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay and continue to put your comments in there. So as we wrap up, remember, every flipped lid is an opportunity to help your child build a stronger, more resilient upstairs brain. And play is a powerful tool in that construction work. So I encourage you to try out some of the strategies we discussed and see the differences that they can make. Finally, as we conclude, remember, each state has a place: the owl, the watchdog, and the possum. They're all important parts of the way the brain copes with the world. And our job is to help our kids manage these states through understanding, compassion, and of course, play. If you're interested in learning more parenting and regulation strategies for your kids, I do have a self-paced webinar, Tantrums to Talking. In this 60-minute webinar, you'll discover 4 more invaluable strategies that will enable you to create a positive emotional environment for your child. I'll put a link to that webinar in the comments. And then remember, stay tuned next week. I think even maybe later this week, we have some more lives coming up. And remember, no matter where you are in your parenting, you're doing a great job.